Well, Mike Pilavachi, first time at Hillsong Conference, is basically the man behind Soul Survivor in the UK. He doing an awesome work over there. Has a church in Watford, in England, reaching young people in particular. And we're really thrilled to have you here, Mike. Come on, give him a huge hand as he comes to share the word of God with us tonight.
We're going to talk tonight about, I want to talk tonight about the relationship between worship, evangelism, and justice. Because I believe that biblically they belong together. They were never meant to be separated, but over the years, much of the Church of Jesus has kept them apart. We've kept worship in the church. It's what we do when we sing in church. Evangelism is what we do out on the streets when we tell others about Jesus. And justice is what the liberals do. And that's changing, and it has to change, and it needs to change. Because biblically, they belong together. They have to. The greatest commandment, said Jesus, is that we love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. That we love him with all that we have and all that we are. That we love him completely. And that essentially is a command to worship. It's a command to give him our worship, to love him, to express that love. Worship is the language of love. When I first became a Christian, I was, if I'm honest, rather puzzled as to why God should command us to worship him all the time. Because I didn't get it for a long time. I thought, does he have an insecurity problem? That he needs us to tell him nice things all the time to keep him going? You know, I just imagined it was like God was saying, come on, my people, praise me, worship me, hallelujah me, tell me how wonderful I am. I was thinking, what is it with God that he needs us to do that? I misunderstood that worship is the expression of a love relationship. Have you ever seen a couple when they first fall in love? More than that, have you ever heard them? I'm good friends with Tim Hughes, who wrote that song, Here I Am to Bore You, and various others. And I remember when Tim first married Rachel. Well, I mean, he only married her once, but it's just after he married Rachel. Soon after he married Rachel, we went on a ministry trip together. And they stayed in a room, and I was in the room next door. And what they didn't realize was that the wall was very, very thin. And it is amazing. It was amazing how much I could hear, especially with the glass just there. I tell you, it was, and I mean, this isn't going to go any further than here, so I'll tell you what I heard. Tim, it went on for hours, not that. It went on for hours. Tim would say, oh, Rachel, I do love you. I love the way you flick your hair. I love the way you smile at me. I love the way you move your eyes. And Rachel would say, oh, Timmy, 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 I love your little dimples. I love it when you stand there with your guitar and you sing those songs. Oh, Rachel, and it just went on. After a while, I wanted to vomit. What were they doing? They were expressing their love for one another. There would have been something wrong if they didn't do that. In essence, that's what worship is. Worship is the language of love. It is the expression of love. When you love someone, you can't help it. You tell them, don't you? You tell them why. You tell them for what reason. You praise them for who they are. You thank them for all the little things they do. You point out, you tell them why you love them, and you don't stop. Tim and Rachel, because I was an outsider looking in, frankly, I found them boring. After a while, it gets boring. It's the same stuff over and over again. Sometimes For people who don't love our Jesus or want to, what we do over and over and over again can seem for a while boring. Worship is the language of love. But do you know, when you love someone, you don't just tell them you love them, you tell everyone you love them. Again, with my friend Tim, he was a normal human being until he fell in love with Rachel. And then when he fell in love with Rachel, you couldn't get a sensible conversation out of him. Everything we talked about went back to Rachel. You know, I'd say to him, how did you feel the worship time went tonight? He said, I think it went all right. Did you hear Rachel's backing vocals? They were amazing. And then another time I'd say, hey, how did you feel your new song went down? Oh, I think it was all right. Rachel says the second verse is her favorite. And yeah, after a while it was like, I think I'm going to kill myself. You know? And then this was at the time when David Beckham was still playing for Manchester United. That was that long ago. And I thought, I've got to find a subject where Rachel can't come into it. So I remember saying to Tim, I said one time, hey, did you watch the Man United game last night? And he said, yeah, I did. He said, you know David Beckham? I said, yes. He said, there's something about him that reminds me of Rachel.